Julius vaccine is stomach pain, but it was in level. Like Degatos. Like, oh, the link to the video we will the description below. Go and check them out. So listen to this vaccine 3, 2, 1.
He thought it was just another stomach ache, the kind that sends most people home with painkillers and rest. But as the cramps grew sharper, his body started doing something no one could explain. Doctors prepared for emergency surgery, convinced they were about to find a ruptured organ. Yet what they discovered instead defied every expectation. This patient, who had lived as a man for years, was actually in the middle of giving birth. And the shocking part? He had no
Really?
idea he was pregnant. Jordan was 29 years old, tough, hardworking, and not the kind of person to run to the hospital for every little ache. He was living an ordinary life, working a physically demanding job, and had always been known as tough and resilient. Jordan had transitioned years earlier, was on hormone therapy, and genuinely believed pregnancy was not part of his future. So when he woke up one morning with sharp stomach cramps, his first thought was not that he might be in labor. He figured it was a stomach bug, maybe something he ate. The cramps came in waves, but he told himself it was probably just indigestion or a pulled muscle from work. By the afternoon, the pain became unbearable. He could barely walk, and his breathing grew heavy with each sharp spasm. Finally, his friends rushed him to the ER, worried that something inside was seriously wrong. At the hospital, Jordan described the pain as stabbing and coming and going in cycles. The doctor on duty immediately considered kidney stones, appendicitis, or maybe even a gastrointestinal blockage. These were the most common causes for the kind of pain Jordan was describing. The medical staff asked him routine questions. What did you eat? Do you have any history of ulcers? Could it be gallstones? But as the doctors examined him, something strange stood out. The pain wasn't constant. It seemed to rise and fall rhythmically, almost like contractions. Still, that possibility didn't cross anyone's mind immediately. Jordan himself dismissed it too. He explained that he was transgender, had been living as a man for years, and hadn't even thought pregnancy could be possible. He wasn't having periods, and the idea of being pregnant was nowhere on his radar. The doctors ordered blood work and imaging tests. His vitals showed stress, elevated heart rate, high blood pressure, and severe abdominal distress. The first ultrasound was ordered to rule out gallstones or internal bleeding. The technician rolled the probe across Jordan's abdomen, and that's when the room fell silent. Instead of gallstones, instead of a burst appendix, the image on the screen revealed something unmistakable. A fully developed fetus, heart beating strongly, had already engaged for delivery. Jordan wasn't suffering from a stomach illness. He was in active labor.
Wow.
The staff were shocked. The doctors quickly regrouped, trying to stay calm. A team was called in to prepare for emergency delivery. Jordan sat there, stunned, unable to process what he was hearing. The stomach pain he thought was cramps had actually been contractions all along. How could this happen? How could someone be pregnant
That's baby bump.
and not know it until the very last moment?
Yeah.
The explanation came down to a combination of biology and circumstance. As a transgender man, Jordan had been on testosterone therapy. While testosterone usually suppresses menstruation and reduces fertility, it does not completely eliminate the possibility of pregnancy. If ovulation occurs, even rarely, pregnancy can happen. In Jordan's case, his menstrual cycles had stopped years earlier. Without monthly reminders, he assumed pregnancy was impossible. On top of that, he had gained some weight and attributed any physical changes to diet and lifestyle, not pregnancy. The fetus had been carried to full term almost silently, with very few of the typical signs one might expect. This phenomenon is known as a cryptic pregnancy, when a person doesn't realize they are pregnant until very late in gestation, sometimes not until labor begins. It's rare, but documented in medical literature. Within minutes of the shocking discovery, Jordan was wheeled into the maternity ward. The contractions were already strong, and the baby was ready to arrive. Nurses prepared the delivery room while Jordan sat in disbelief.
Oh.
He was about to become a parent, a role he never imagined in that way.
Yeah.
The labor progressed quickly. Because he had been in active contractions for hours before arriving, his body was already advanced in the process. Doctors monitored both his vitals and the baby's heart rate carefully. Finally, after an intense and emotionally overwhelming labor, Jordan delivered a healthy baby boy. The cries of the newborn filled the room, and
Oh,
despite the confusion and shock, Jordan held his child with tears in his eyes. After the delivery, Jordan stayed in the hospital for a few days of observation. Physically, both he and the baby were healthy. Emotionally, it was complicated. He never expected to experience childbirth, and the suddenness of it all left him struggling to process the reality. But one thing was certain: the baby was here, alive, and needed
yeah.
care. With support from friends and family, Jordan began the journey of parenting, something he hadn't planned, but was now embracing. The hospital staff documented the case as a rare example of cryptic pregnancy in a transgender man. It became a learning point for medical teams. Never rule out pregnancy as a cause of abdominal pain, no matter the gender identity of the patient. This case teaches an important lesson for both patients and doctors. For patients, it's a reminder that our bodies can still surprise us. Hormone
Yeah.
therapy reduces but doesn't fully eliminate fertility, so pregnancy is always a remote possibility unless surgical sterilization has occurred. For doctors, it's a critical reminder not to let assumptions cloud judgment. Symptoms must always be investigated with an open mind. In this case, the assumption that a man could not be pregnant delayed the correct diagnosis until the very last moment. Medical history is full of unexpected turns, and sometimes the truth hiding behind ordinary symptoms is more shocking than anyone could imagine. So the next time someone walks into the ER with severe stomach pain, could it actually be labor? In Jordan's case, that's
We
exactly what happened. What do you think? Would you have guessed the real cause behind his pain?
maybe. Mhm. There was ito stomach pain. He was in labo, but that got tossed. The link to the video we will be receiving below. Go and check them out. Be drop a like if you like. And comment below if you want to see more reaction like this one. And subscribe if you're new. And click the bell so you can be notified for me upload and me post and collab. And if you watching on Twitter, the link to the video will be the description on top. And drop a like if you like. And comment below if you want to see more reaction like this one. And follow me and click the bell so you can be notified for me post. And no matter bye. Wow.